Hello and welcome. I am late to the game and this is 60 seconds. Okay, let's start a new game here. Classic, and we'll just go with an apocalypse scenario on normal difficulty, which means I'll have 60 seconds to run around the house and grab as much as I can from my shelter. Let's go. Here's some water in there, and food in there, family, gun. Grab you. The gun, and they go. And family member.
No.
Accident gas mask. Cut it a bit close there. Right, let's see what we have here. All of us made it into the shelter just a second before the blast. That was a close one. As long as we're all together, we can make it work down here. We remember hearing canned soup is healthy for you. We can't remember bringing those supplies down to the shelter, but we're not complaining. We probably should have stocked it better anyway. And we have a checkers board. Our shelves are full of cans. We'll eat from cans, we'll sleep on cans, we'll even talk to cans. Some of us already do. Plenty of water means we don't have to worry about that for some time. Okay, and they should all be fairly well fed at this point, so nothing for everyone. It's a tough start surviving in these conditions. Let's hope this will be over soon, or else we might end up dead in some wasteland ditch. That's not something we are looking forward to. Day 2. It's easy to feel a bit down when living underground like this. No sunshine, no sky. We need to get rid of that pessimism and try to bring some cheerfulness into our lives. Mary Jane says she's fine, doesn't need anything. Timmy seems okay, as much as he can be in our current situation. Today was relatively calm for Dolores. Ted is fine. Good, that means none of them need food. Next. Looks like the area is still irradiated. Going to the wasteland right now is unsafe unless you don't mind getting sick. Ted is vigorous, Dolores is good shape, excellent, Tim is enthusiastic, yes, prepare. Spiders seem to be operating under the assumption that they have all the same rights to the shelter as we do. They're everywhere and don't seem very scared of us. It's time we change that. We don't want any more spiders in our soup, no sir. But I don't have anything to get rid of them. Day 3. We decided we could get rid of those spiders with our bare hands, feet and whatever other body parts we could use for lethal anti-spider attacks. Unfortunately, we've underestimated their chances. They're really fast. All we'd achieved was getting really tired. Maybe we'll have more luck next time. Water is what Mary Jane needs most right now. Timmy doesn't need much, but he should drink. Dolores has to drink, and where is water when Ted needs it? Okay, so everyone gets a bit of water. That's fine. We need to make a choice. Today's expedition, which one of us is best fit to face the wasteland and survive? I'll send Ted. Yep, and you can take the gas mask. Go forth. Day 4. Mary Jane says she's fine and doesn't need anything. Timmy might not look like it, but he's a strong young boy. He's doing just fine. Dolores is doing quite well, or she just can't find anything to complain about today. Ted left for the surface. We hope he'll be back soon. Ted ration supplies, and they're all fine. They don't need anything. There has been some radio chatter about airdrops from the military. It's about time. All those taxis had to pay for a crate or two for us, right? Shall we head out to get them? Oh, but I gave away the gas mask. Never mind. Day 5. It was too dangerous to go out there without any protection, so we decided to stay indoors and listen to the radio. The static is so relaxing. Mary Jane says she's fine and doesn't need anything. No news is good news. There's nothing new going on with Timmy. Dolores is doing quite well, or she just can't find anything to complain about today. Again, that means they don't need anything. We had planned to go to Niagara Falls and see those beautiful waterfalls. We never expected to get a waterfall of our very own in our shelter. Right now, it seems that half the dozen pipes burst and all that water is pouring right into our bunker. We need to save our supplies. The only thing we can save is the radio. Day 6. Sounds like we have visitors. The radio was rescued first before any of that filthy liquid got into its case. It wasn't long before most of the water disappeared, but the damage it had done was enough to upset us. Cleaning and fixing this mess will take us days. And what's that smell? Everyone has to drink sometimes, including Mary Jane. Is there any water left? We can't leave Timmy without water for too long. Dolores can't remain this thirsty for too long. Okay, water it is again. We didn't think we would get a chance to increase our food supply by simply playing a card game, but that's what we were offered by a man who knocked on our door today. 2 cans of food. We win, we get his 2 cans. We lose, we give him our 2 cans. Are we going to do it? No, because we don't have any cards. Although you'd think that someone offering a card game would bring his own. Day 7, and Ted is back. Gambling is a terrible habit. What kind of example is that to set the kids? We need supplies, but we're not getting them like that. We'd sooner rob someone. We sent that man away. Good riddance. Ted has safely returned from his voyage to the surface, with the gas mask. We were about to give up and come back empty-handed to the shelter, when we ran into a church. It looked peaceful enough, save for an unexploded atomic bomb stuck in the church tower. A sizable group of people were busy praying to the bomb, chanting something about the holy fission. That sounded really crazy, but those people seemed friendly enough. Those nice people gave us some canned soup. They say they don't like the taste of it. Now we're certain that they're nut jobs. Very nice of them. One of the beds in the surviving church quarters was filled with quite a few treasures, namely a flashlight and a collection of books about evolution. We took the flashlight. Mary Jane is hungry, Timmy should eat, Dolores should eat, and Ted is hungry and tired. Okay, so everyone gets a bit of food. And onwards we go. The contamination of our town is still strong. Scavenging in these conditions could result in radiation sickness. Ted is too tired, Dolores is confident, more than ready. Timmy, go to the wasteland to prepare. If there is anyone who can rescue us from this hellish situation, it's our government. You can badmouth them all you want, but that probably means you're either a naysayer or a commie. We're good citizens, we've been paying our taxes regularly, so we're sure Uncle Sam is coming to get us. Well, except that one time when never mind. The government people are coming, and we should keep our ears and eyes open for any signs from them. Let's listen to the radio then. We knew it. The government has not fallen and they're coming to save us. They didn't give exact dates on their radio transmission, but we're sure they won't keep us waiting long. They said they will be in touch in a couple of days and told us to wait further instructions. Mary Jane seems fine today, hopefully it will stay that way. Nothing new to report on Timmy. Today's been fine for Dolores thus far, and Ted's stomach is rumbling. So, Ted gets a bit of food, and everyone else can wait. We're feeling pretty optimistic about today's expedition. The only thing left to do is choose the right person to go outside. You're up, Timmy. And what will you take? Take the axe. Day 9. Getting something to drink for Mary Jane sounds like the right idea. Timmy went out to the wasteland. We don't know what we'll do if he doesn't come back. Dolores can't remain thirsty for long, and Ted is hungry. Where is water when Ted needs it? Okay, so Ted gets a bit of everything, and these two get water. We keep dreaming about those little things we did back in the day when there weren't as many bombs falling down. Not on our heads anyway. Day 10. Living in the past is not wise in our current situation. We need to think of today and tomorrow. Mary Jane didn't cause any trouble today, and no trouble dared to cross her path. Today was relatively calm for Dolores. No new problems are troubling Ted this fine morning. Which means they don't need food or water. It's difficult to keep our spirits up in this situation. We do hope this whole mess will be over soon, or else we might end up in a place much worse than this cosy shelter. Day 11. We're trying our best to remain calm. The situation we're in is far from normal, and we might never get used to it. We hope the help comes soon. Mary Jane didn't cause any trouble today, and no trouble dared to cross her path. Today's been fine for Dolores thus far. Ted seems to be doing alright, even though the world has gone to a crappy place. Again, no little water for you. We were sure we'd looked through our supplies carefully, but Mary Jane spotted something all of us missed. A seed. A plant seed. We should plant it to see what happens, and we need a bottle of water for that. Should we use it? Why not? Day 12 and Timmy is back. Here goes nothing. Soil, seeds, water. We'll see what happens in a few days' time. Let's just hope these seeds don't turn into some useless flower. Mary Jane seems optimistic though. We were so afraid for Timmy, but he came back from the wasteland and is safe with us now. We spotted an untouched store with many products inside, even food. Different than tomato soup, a real treat in these post-apocalyptic times. When we were about to reach it, a terrible noise made us stop in our tracks. Something heavy fell straight from the sky, crashing into the store and destroying it completely. After dust settled, we realised we were looking at a spaceship, just like in Timmy's comics. Could it be saucermen from Mars? Then why does it bear an American flag on the side and the logo of something called Astro Citizen? Could it be infiltration? Crafty little alien buggers. Under a bunch of metal space junk, we found a tired old teddy bear and some supplies. The bear looked disappointed. We ended up turning him around. We could not handle his judgmental button eyes, and we got 2 soup cans out of it. Someone stuffed a bunch of items into a big sock. Not sure how the sock made it through the crash, but it somehow succeeded at protecting the supplies. Inside, a medical kit, useful. We were tempted to take a bunch of jewellery, We were tempted to take a bunch of jewellery that was rolling around in debris, but what would we do with it? Instead, we adopted some things that survived thanks to being stuck in an empty space helmet. 3 bottles of water. We returned from the expedition, but our axe didn't make it. We should get Mary Jane something to drink, Timmy should eat and is tired. Water for Dolores and water for Ted, okay? Water, food. We had thought phone calls were a thing of the past after the atomic bomb obliterated everything in our little town. However, a phone booth on our street survived the bombing somehow. It seems it's ringing right now. We should send someone to answer it. Your turn, Dolores. Day 13. When we answered the phone, we could clearly hear a gasp of relief from the caller. They introduced themselves as survivors from a nearby town of Hill Valley. We had started exchanging information when the call was cut short. Something must have gone wrong on their side. We hope they will get back to us. We were glad to see Dolores come back safely from the wasteland. Mary Jane's diet could use a little food. Timmy should eat something. Today's been fine, Dolores, and no new problems for Ted this morning. Okay, so food for the kids. It looks like the area is still really radiated. Going to the wasteland right now is unsafe unless you don't mind getting sick. Ted is too weak. Dolores is in good shape. Mary Jane is feeling excellent. Sending Timmy out is out of the question. Prepare. We stumbled upon the remains of a bandit shantytown. Someone or something tore it down. Incidentally, amidst the rubble, we found a cat licking its paws nonchalantly, surrounded by blood and dismembered limbs. As we made our way back to the shelter, the cat followed. We can now hear its paws impatiently scratching our hatch. Should we let it inside? What could possibly go wrong? Day 14, and we now have a cat. When we opened the hatch, the cat jumped in and marched around the whole shelter, sniffing all of us, every wall, corner, empty soup can and piece of furniture. Finally, it picked a quiet place, sat down and let out a deep sigh before taking a 12-hour nap. Its collar has Sharikov etched into it. What kind of name is that? There isn't anything new bothering Mary Jane. Timmy is very hungry. Timmy doesn't eat much, but he should drink. Dolores has not eaten for a while. There's nothing much going on with Ted, no trouble, nothing new. So food and drink for Timmy and food for Dolores. We're feeling pretty optimistic about today's expedition. The only thing left to do is choose the right person to go outside. Your turn, Mary Jane. Take the gun. Day 15, and there's a knock at the door. Mary Jane went outside. Let's hope she hurries back soon. Timmy seems okay, as much as he can be in our current situation. There has to be some water left. Dolores should get it. Ted's stomach is rumbling. Ted needs water to survive. Okay, so food and water for Ted and water for Dolores. Starting to run a bit low on water. If there's one sure way to get our attention, it's definitely banging on our shelter door. Whoever it is, they're quite persistent. They've been at it for the past 5 minutes. Should we open? Nothing dangerous in that. Day 16. Opening that hatch was a bit risky. It seems it gave us some awful sickness. That coughing is driving us crazy. Nothing new to report on Timmy. Dolores is fine and well, as much as anyone can be fine and well in this tiny shelter. Ted became infected with something. Well, let's just heal up Ted and move on with our lives. Playing a game or two might be a good way to relieve the mood and take our minds off the problems of today and tomorrow. And hey, playing games is good for you, so why not give it a try every now and then? Day 17. We played I Spy and it was pretty fun for the first 3 minutes. After that, everyone got bored of the letter W. Timmy doesn't need much, but he should drink. Dolores is fine and well, as much as anyone can be fine and well in this tiny shelter. Ted has recovered from his sickness. Here's a bit of water for you. We were able to receive another message from the government. The military is preparing a rescue mission. They want all survivors to head to a specific location in the area, then leave a sign that someone is still alive and kicking nearby. The problem is, they've provided us with geographical coordinates, but we need a map to find out where we're supposed to be headed. Otherwise, it's just complete gobbledygook. Day 18. We were sure we could find the location without a map. We were wrong. Hopefully we'll get lucky next time. Timmy is good. Well, at least he was 5 minutes ago. If there's one thing we need, it's water for Dolores, and Ted should drink something soon. There you go. Sharikov is still a fresh addition to our little family, so we need to keep an eye on it. And believe it or not, just today we noticed something else on its collar. It seems to be a metal plate with an address on it, and it's not far. Should we take a quick trip and see what's there? Absolutely. Day 19. We grabbed our new fluffy friend for a little stroll through the wastes, only to immediately run into a couple of gentlemen dressed in trench coats, fedoras and shades. They gritted their teeth at the sight of the cat and said they'd been looking for it. Apparently it belongs to their dear old Nan, who loves it dearly. Before we could utter a word, they took Sharikov, thanked us and left. The cat didn't seem to mind, so maybe it's for the best. Timmy's on his best behaviour. How long will it last? Dolores is fine and well, as much as anyone can be fine and well in this tiny shelter. This morning has been calm enough for Ted and he's doing well. Which means no rations for you. Tentacles everywhere. Is that a monster from Mars? Wait, they're not tentacles, it's the damn plant Mary Jane is growing. It is mutated and is out of control. Are those teeth? They're huge. We need to do something, but we can't. Day 20, and Mary Jane has returned. There was nothing we could use to fight that damned plant. We're lucky it didn't eat us alive, but it did steal some of our food. In what reality does a plant eat a tomato soup can? Is that even a world worth living in? Ooh, 2 soup rations down. Nothing made us happier than the sight of Mary Jane returning to the shelter from the surface, with the gun. It might sound paranoid, but we think someone followed us. Let's just hope this doesn't happen again. We decided to finally check what we can find between the rubble in our own backyard, our poor lawns and flowers, once the object of desire for the whole neighbourhood, now reduced to nothing more than radioactive ashes covered by debris. There really isn't much left here. The only tree that's left is completely burnt out. In a hollow area inside the dead husk, some mutated 3-tailed squirrels made their home. They're pretty good at collecting stuff. Hope they don't mind us borrowing a few things, and we got our soup rations back. Our tool shed is gone except the door, which stands stubbornly with nothing around it. It served its purpose, though an axe hanging on the other side was completely covered from the blast. Looks as good as new. We used to barbecue here almost every weekend. The barbecue itself somehow found its way onto a power line in front of our house, and it's unreachable. Our garden table is mostly destroyed under bits and pieces of charred wood. We found a few things that could prove useful. Looks like a harmonica. The garage still has 2 walls left, but most things inside are gone. Not even the bicycles made it through the blast, but weirdly enough, the baskets installed on top of them did. We found some leftover supplies there from our last bicycle trip. 2 more water. Mary Jane is hungry and tired. Timmy is very hungry and wants water. Dolores needs food, and no new problems for Ted. Okay. So food. Is that right? Timmy is hungry and water, and Mary Jane is just hungry. Okay. Got that a bit wrong. That's better. Our neighbourhood is still highly radioactive. Trips to the surface are a big risk for our health right now. I'm preparing an expedition anyway. Dolores can have a turn. We know very little about what's going on outside. It'd be a good idea to find out more. Maybe discover if anyone else made it to safety. A radio could help us with this. Luckily, we have one. Day 21, and the cat is back. We were able to get a weak signal and tap into government's emergency announcement service. And guess what? Great news! The fallout outside is mostly gone. It should be much safer to travel on the surface now. To our surprise, we found Sharikov back in our shelter this morning. We're not exactly sure why or how it came back. Is it our good care that it appreciates? Our kind heart? Optimism? Or just our stockpile of soup cans? Only time will tell. Mary Jane is hungry. No news is good news. There's nothing new going on with Timmy. Dolores will not last long without water. Ted is hungry. All Ted wishes for are a few drops of water. Okay, so food, water for Ted, water for Dolores, and food for Mary Jane. Food, water, food. Next. Your turn, Dolores. And go with the axe again. Day 22. Ted seems to have developed an allergy to our furry guest. He's been coughing and sneezing all night long. We should try giving him some medication. Good luck with that. Mary Jane is quite hungry. Getting something to drink for Mary Jane sounds like the right idea. No news is good news. There's nothing new going on with Timmy. Dolores is on her way to the surface. Let's hope she'll make it back safe and sound. Ted got sick and Ted is fatigued. Use who? Just make sure. Nope. The boredom and silence are overwhelming. Too bad we don't have a TV to keep us occupied. But maybe we could take advantage of some of our supplies and pretend they're props on a movie set. Too bad the axe is gone with Dolores. Day 23. Ted and Mary Jane seemed let down, but we have more important things to do than playing theatre right now. Mary Jane's diet could still use a little food. Timmy has been talking about nothing other than water. He should drink some. Ted seems to be doing alright, even though the world has gone to a crappy place. Food and water. A loud crash, a surprised shriek, and a bit of debris falling from our ceiling. Truly, a recipe for a good start to the day. As it turns out, Sharikov found a new toy, a bit of innocuous wiring that's dripped out of the wall. Who knows what the cable's for, but our lights are still on, so it can't be that important, right? Should we take the wire away from our fluffy friend and investigate it? Yes! Investigate away. Day 24. We grabbed the cable and followed it to a rusty old truck parked in our neighbour's driveway. Upon opening the door, we were confronted with two men wearing huge headphones who looked extremely surprised to see us. They wiretapped our shelter when we were asleep, and they were listening to everything we said. We gave them hell and marched back to our bunker. It's impressive how well Mary Jane is handling this situation. She looks fine today. Timmy is good. Well, at least he was 5 minutes ago, and Ted should drink something. The agents who are spying on us are now at the door and want to explain themselves. Should we hear them out? Absolutely. Day 25. They briefly waved some sort of ID cards in front of our faces and told us they're on a top secret government mission. The wiretap wasn't to spy on us, but rather on the cat. It's suspected of being a Soviet agent. They're willing to let us into their super top secret government safe house if we help them with some of their top secret missions. They assured us that they'd contact us again with more details. That sounds trustworthy. We were glad to see Dolores come back safely from the wasteland. Our little trip to the surface might have been spotted and followed. We should be more careful next time. The nuke did most of the destructive work, but gasoline reserves under the nearby gas station blew up as well. All that was left of the place was a crippled cashier's booth and the remains of several cars. Someone might have thought 60 seconds was enough for a gas refill and a quick getaway. They thought wrong. There was an abandoned truck in line for the gas pump. We immediately recognised the logo of a well-known company on its side. Yup, the Canned Soup Company. A few water bottles were scattered around in the cashier's booth. None of the explosions damaged them, though it is funny how that pipe's shadow got burned into the wall. One of the cars had a map inside of it. After perusing the chart, we noticed a label which read "Time Machine hidden here." A big red X marks the spot. A deck of cards was lying about just outside the booth. After picking them up and counting them out, the only thing missing were 3 sixes. Playable enough. We returned from the expedition, but our axe didn't make it. Water is what Mary Jane needs most right now, but the good scout he is. Timmy is making the best out of the situation. He seems cheerful. Dolores is not eating for a while, and Ted says there's no need to worry. Okay, so food for Dolores and water for Mary Jane. This morning we were surprised to find a letter on our doorstep. It was not signed and it contained the location and time for a meeting tonight and a few sentences. It said things like, "We're friendly, come unarmed, send one person." We have no idea who could have sent that, but we're guessing this is our chance to find out. Are we sending someone? How could we not with an invitation like that? Your turn again, Ted. Day 26. The meeting was organised by twin siblings, a brother and a sister, who took it upon themselves to scout the remains of the city looking for trustworthy and decent people. They seemed honest about their intentions and were more than happy to meet them again. They said they know where to find us and they're going to contact us if they need some help. Ted has safely returned from his voyage to the surface. Mary Jane is feeling safe. Who wouldn't in this coffin-sized shelter? Timmy is very hungry. Some water for Timmy would be nice. Dolores is not eating for a while. Something should be done about Ted's sickness. Okay, so food and water. And we're good to go. And no one is able to go on an expedition. Oh well, never mind. We had the most curious visitors today. One of them was making the sound of a galloping horse using a pair of rocks and hitting them against each other, while his companion was pretending to ride said horse. They claimed to be on a very important quest to seek some magical cup, only they lost their way in the wasteland. They asked permission to have a quick look at their map to determine their whereabouts. Sure. Day 27. They were clearly crazy but harmless, so we fulfilled their request and it was worth it. They turned out to be very generous and gave us an axe. They claimed it was a magical battle axe, but to us it looks like a regular one. Whatever, as long as the blade is sharp. Mary Jane is pretty fatigued. Timmy has rested. Dolores is not eating for a while and water is all Dolores wants. Ted has rested. Okay, so you get food and water. It seems awfully quiet outside. Maybe it's safe, maybe it's not. We won't know until we go out. Yes, let's prepare for an expedition. We were able to receive another message from the government. The military is preparing a rescue mission. They want all survivors to head to a specific location in the area and leave a sign that someone is still alive and kicking nearby. The problem is, they provided us with geographical coordinates, but we need a map to find out where we're supposed to be headed. Otherwise, it's just complete gobbledygook. Luckily, we now have a map. Day 28. A quick glance at the map gave us all the information we required. We left them a message in a bottle. We should get Mary Jane something to drink. Timmy is pretty fatigued. Today was relatively calm for Dolores. Ted is hungry. Where is water when Ted needs it? So food and water for Ted and water for Mary Jane. We need to make a choice for today's expedition. Which one of us is best fit to face the wasteland and survive? That would be you, Timmy. Take the axe again. Seems to bring back many supplies when you do. Day 29. Mary Jane is feeling safe. Who wouldn't in this coffin-sized shelter? Timmy went out to the wasteland. We don't know what we'll do if he doesn't come back. Today was relatively calm for Dolores. There isn't much going on with Ted. No trouble, nothing new. All good, no rations to be used. A coded note was left on our doorstep. It's all symbols and numbers, some sort of cipher that will need to be cracked before we can read the letter. Dolores seems eager for this challenge. However, it's hard to tell how long this could take her, and it could prove to be a waste of her time. Should she keep herself busy with it? Why not? Something to do. Day 30. Dolores instantly sat down with the code and started working on it with a purpose. She looks very focused. Let's hope the note is worth staying up all night. Dolores looks very tired already. Mary Jane is quite hungry. Dolores has the drink sometimes. Something should be done about Ted's sickness. Okay. Water and food and good. Today during breakfast we were startled when our map slid off the wall. We checked the nails holding it, but they were all firmly in place. It could be a poltergeist. Maybe we need to perform an exorcism to get rid of it. Anyway, in the wall behind the map, we discovered some sort of safe. We were curious as to what treasure might be inside. Should we open it? What could possibly go wrong? Day 31. We're not sure how or why the map just decided to slide off the wall, but we're lucky that it happened. Inside the dusty safe we found some supplies. A padlock. Getting something to drink for Mary Jane sounds like the right idea. Life is hard for all of us right now, but Dolores is in good mood today. We hope it stays this way. Ted needs water. Yes, water and running low on water. You would expect a nuclear explosion would be enough to quench any petty arguments. When the future is not looking too pretty and all you see is naked walls, not much is necessary for an explosion. It happened. We started fighting like crazy. Day 32. We are done fighting, but for how long? Mary Jane didn't cause any trouble today, and no trouble dared to cross her path. Dolores would really love to eat something. Either we get Ted medicine, or we never see him eat another can of soup. Hurry. Sounds like Ted's going to die. But Dolores can have some food. Sharikov seems to be fond of her checkerboard. Its favourite game during stretches of extreme boredom and silence in the shelter is pushing the checker pieces off the table as it gazes intently at whoever happens to be sitting the closest. The sound of checkers hitting the floor every 10 seconds is getting on our nerves, and we're considering taking the game away. Should we let Sharikov play with the checkers? Yes, you should. Day 33. Sharikov really went to town on this poor checkerboard. It ate several pieces and scratched the board. It's basically unplayable now. Guess it's back to rock, paper, scissors, atom bomb as our only entertainment now. Mary Jane is feeling safe. Who wouldn't in this coffin-sized shelter? There has to be some water left. Dolores should get it. Either we get Ted medicine or we never see him eat another can of soup. Hurry. Here's some water for Dolores. The cat is growling in the general direction of us and their supplies. We're not sure if cats drink soup, but it's the only thing on the menu today, and it's up to us if we want to share our tomato delicacy with our pet. We have plenty to share. Day 34, and Timmy has returned. The little devil utterly devoured the whole can in less than 60 seconds and left nothing behind, not even a drop. After that, it took a long, peaceful nap. At least it won't bother us for a while now. We were so afraid for Timmy, but he came back from the wasteland and is safe with us now. We believe that our expedition to the wasteland must have been followed by strangers. We should be more cautious next time. The proud Ellison Hotel was completely destroyed. Piles and piles of luggage were lying between heaps of rubble. Only a few rooms on lower levels partially survived. Every room was stocked with water bottles for guests. A few of them remained relatively untouched by the explosion. We returned from the expedition, but our axe didn't make it. Water is what Mary Jane needs most right now. Timmy should eat something and is really tired. Everything's okay with Dolores and Ted. Needs food, water and medicine. So it's food, water, water. Is that right? Yeah, Tim should eat and Mary should drink. That's fine. Using a high-tech setup involving paper cups and yards of string, the agents sprang in with our next top-secret mission that will surely land us in the VIP bunker very soon. They want us to go on one successful expedition and write down what we saw in the journal. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, right? Who should go outside? Well, Ted is kind of expendable at the moment. Day 35. We graciously agreed to fulfill their request. They thanked us for doing our civic duty and promised that they would be back with more information soon. It's always better when things are calm. Luckily, nothing new happened to Mary Jane today. Timmy is very hungry. If there's anything to report about Dolores, this is where it would have been written. Ted left for the surface. We hope he'll be back soon. Timmy can have a bit of food. We were happy to open the door today and see some friendly faces. The siblings are asking for our help yet again. They decided that a small tent is not fit to house their group anymore and decided to start building a small camp. They could use anything and anybody they could get, mainly for constructing houses. Unfortunately, we lost our axe. Again. Day 36. We apologise for not being able to help at this time. Maybe we can find an axe soon and join the fun, but right now we have no way of helping these folks. Mary Jane is quite hungry. Mary Jane has rested. Timmy should eat something. Timmy prefers apple juice, but right now we should get him some water. Water is all Dolores wants. Okay, so water or food. Water for Dolores. Food for Mary Jane. Water and food for Timmy. And running very low. We thought it'd be a great idea to have some role-playing fun and create our own shelter theatre group. We called it the Thunderdome. We spent the rest of the day trying to write a script for our performance. We almost got into a fight over it and decided that maybe it would be best to play something simpler. Day 37, and Ted is back with a cast on his leg. We played Truth or Dare. When it turned out we only kept asking questions and the most common was, are we going to eat anything besides tomato soup? We decided that's enough games for now. That recon mission was risky business. We had to visit neighbourhoods that were dicey even in the best of times. The area was full of mutated cats and dogs fighting each other in gangs, all of them armed to the teeth. We barely made it out of there alive, but the agents seemed to appreciate our efforts. Let's hope these missions are actually worth it. Our bucket is just about due for an upgrade, and we're expecting the government shelter to have an excellent bathroom, maybe even a hot tub. We should get Mary Jane something to drink. No news is good news, there's nothing new with Timmy. Dolores is rested, and Ted's stomach is rumbling. Yeah, I can see Ted was hurt. So you can eat and you can drink. We're out of food and we have one water ration left. Excellent. We're not certain about the situation on the surface. A trip could be risky, but we could really use the supplies. Yes, we could. Another radio broadcast from the military was a huge shock for us. Not only did they postpone our rescue, they also ordered all survivors to get rid of their firearms. Are they nuts? How are we supposed to defend ourselves? It had better be worth it. You can always trust your government. Day 38, and Ted is dead. Ted has been sick for far too long, and he was too weak to keep on going. He passed away in his sleep. We decided to follow military orders and got rid of our rifle. We did so with a heavy heart, but if that's the price of getting safety, we play gladly. That doesn't mean we'll never get another one though. Mary Jane didn't cause any trouble today, and no trouble dared to cross her path. Like the good scout he is, Timmy is making the best out of this situation. He even seems cheerful, sitting next to his dead father. Dolores would really love to eat something. Okay, Dolores, since you're the hungriest and need most rations. Oh, that's the ration. No one gets anything, but you're going on the adventure. And you should take the padlock, because who knows? Day 39. Mary Jane isn't worried, or at least she's not saying so out loud. Some water for Timmy would be nice. Dolores is on her way to the surface. Let's hope she'll make it back safe and sound. Time to ration supplies and no one gets anything. You would expect the post-apocalypse to be a time of peace and quiet since, most of the people aren't around anymore. Yet, here we have someone at the door. When we opened it, we encountered a strange-looking man in a blue jumpsuit who asked us to trade him a water chip. A water chip? What in the hell is that? Well, I don't have any full bottles of water left, so you're out of luck. Day 40. We were sorry to explain we didn't know what a water chip was and that we didn't have one. He thanked us in a few short words and left. Getting something to drink from Mary Jane sounds like the right idea. Timmy's in terrible shape. We need to give him water, now. Okay, so Timmy gets the water. We stumbled upon a weird signal when changing radio frequencies. We're pretty sure that behind layers of terrible static and screams, we could hear a voice speaking in a foreign language. Oh dear. What if it's the Soviets? We should probably listen to it, but what about the children? Well, the children are the only ones here, so let's listen. Day 41. We were relieved at first when we figured out it wasn't Soviets we heard. Turned out it was Canadians, which isn't that much better. Either way, they're foreigners, and we couldn't understand what they were saying, not a word. How disappointing. Mary Jane keeps fainting. We're dealing to find her something to drink, fast. Timmy should eat something. Well, you're out of luck there. A gang of thugs started banging on our door, ordering us to surrender and give up all of our supplies. How do we respond to these scumbags? I'll give them a harmonica. That's sure to work. Day 42. We lived to see another day. Our attempt at producing beautiful, sorrowful music that would soften their hearts resulted in a cacophony of hellish noises instead. The attackers ran away, covering their ears. They will probably be back. Mary Jane is getting quite hungry. Mary Jane keeps fainting. We really need to find her something to drink fast. We lost her harmonica. Timmy is very hungry. There are still no supplies to ration. Clearly, we're trustworthy after our last successful mission. As the agents came back with another request, we are to generously provide either a couple of soup cans or some water bottles for an agent in the field. They'll take care of the delivery. In return, we'll be given an encouraging pat on the back and the promise of a better future in a safe government shelter. Well, as much as I would like to do my civic duty, I cannot. Day 43. Oh dear, Mary Jane's gone. When Mary Jane found out she is not getting a single drop of water, she got furious. She stormed out into the wasteland, shouting over her shoulder that we'll regret this, and that she's getting her water one way or another. We are seriously terrified right now. We're not giving them anything, at least not this time. That'll be in relation to the agents. Timmy should eat something. Timmy doesn't need much, but he should drink. Sorry Timmy, you've nothing to eat or drink. Timmy didn't say a word about it, but when he was outside, he scratched his hand on a wire or some other rusty piece of metal. His wound is not looking pretty, and we need to do something about it. Guessing the axe would be to chop his hand off. Day 44. The best medicine for any sickness or injury is to clench your teeth and ignore it. That's what our grandma always said. Of course, she's dead now. It has been for a while, ever since she got that nasty frog bite at the fine age of 25. Timmy should eat something. Timmy's in terrible shape. We need to give him water now. Timmy fell sick. Well, that's not surprising. Alarm! Someone is trying to break in and they're not alone. We better get ready or else we might end up dead, or worse. Well, nothing to get ready with. The end. We watched helplessly as those cruel thugs took Timmy out of the shelter. We hope we'll see him again someday. Of all places we could have perished, this is probably the best one, or maybe not. We survived for 45 days. Well, that's not too bad. I was doing quite well for about 30 days. And it all fell apart in 2 weeks. "45 days, 10 waters, 9 soups, 1 shelter defence." Said yes 10 times to everything that came along, and had 8 out of 9 successful expeditions. That's not too bad. Well, I hope you've enjoyed watching my playthrough of 60 seconds, and I hope to see you again in another video. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.